Welcome to the Help Myself podcast, the world's most dangerous podcast. You know what? I'm sticking with that, man. I'm excited to be back in the saddle and on your screens. A lot going on. Listen, my co-pilot LJ is in summer school, man, so he's running around here, and we've actually been really busy getting a lot of things going on. I think a lot of folks, including myself, thought, hey, everything was going to slow down because of retirement from the Air Force. Things have not slowed down, but they've taken on a new form. And I've got to be totally honest. I think both of us are enjoying this. There's so many ideas that I have. There's so many things that I want to get involved in, and the opportunity to do them and to figure out a new framework and all that. It is extremely exciting. And so understand that I have come to recognize that I am a person of purpose. And so the idea of just sitting back and not contributing in meaningful ways, it's not in my DNA. It is not how I am built and how I'm made up. So I'm excited to be doing things. I mean, from traveling to see friends, parties, hung out with my special clique. We call ourselves the staff meeting crew. All of us are retired chiefs, and we get together and we hang out. And got more trips on the horizon, have more events, getting active with the Black Men with Purpose podcast, getting, my sister, the diva with a destiny, Pierre Collins, and working with her in Table Talk with the Diva. And I still haven't got to talk to her and ask her for permission to broadcast one of her episodes on the Help Myself Podcast Network. But we'll get to that. We did an episode, did a rerun of The Real Shop Talk. And, I introduced it, and it was the two episodes that we did when we were all here in the DMV back in late January. So if you get a chance, go check that out. Those are two of my favorite episodes. I talked about a clothing line that might be coming out. It is actually a complete joke, but it was extremely funny. So check that out, man. We had such a great time when we all got together. Just supporting all of the different things. So I'm excited about the opportunities that are ahead of me. I have some projects in the work, and I'm going to speak them out loud because I think it's important that what you speak, your energy and your inspiration flows towards the things that you determine with your mouth. And, I think a lot of times we talk ourselves out of the great things that we can do by believing we can't, by saying that we can't. But sometimes we just will utter in a moment of frustration or not carelessness that we can't or we will not do something. And I believe there's a lot more psychology to. There's several movies and stories out about somebody who decided that for a specific amount of time they weren't going to say no, they were just going to say yes. There's an incredible book that I wrote or that I read. It's been about 5 years. It's called The Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer, who's also the author of The Untethered Soul. And the Surrender Experiment just talks about his amazing journey of just following his spirit and his intuition and not turning down opportunities and where it took him. And there have been times and short spurts where I've utilized that and just took no off of the table and just jumped into all of the opportunities that came forth. And I can confidently say that it never steered me wrong. And I'm not saying no is important. And I posted that Pastor Touré Roberts was on the Breakfast Club talking about how important no is. So yes, a strategic and specific no, but sometimes we just say no because we're afraid to say yes. And we need to be afraid to continue telling ourselves no when the answer should be yes. And so many things that I want to do. So projects, there are some books that are coming in. There at least one book coming before the end of the year, but I am really projecting to try to get two. And the second one, it'll be fine with me if it comes out on the last day of the year, but there are there's writing and books. For all of you that follow me on all of my socials, you know that I'm very active. Been doing the Monday morning mind hacks coming up here in a couple of weeks, it'll be 3 years that I've been doing the Monday Morning Mind Hack. Every Monday, rain, snow, or shine, holiday or not, dropping a version of the Monday Morning Mind Hack to give people quick, actionable steps and thoughts to go out and turn their Monday from, what do you call it? A liability into an asset. And so that consistency, the consistency here with the Help Myself podcast, the consistency of all the things that I'm doing across the John M. Singletary Senior brand. And so there are a lot of things that I'm going to be bringing to life to continue to help the communities that I'm passionate about, to help people to recognize and realize their best self. Because as I said last week, and I think we're going to continue to say this going forward, I affirm that we will say this going forward. It's the most dangerous podcast in the world because we're taking the power and putting it back where it belongs. And that's in the hands of the people, and the people are you. So we're putting the power back in the hands of the people because you're amazing and you're great. And there's so much that you have to offer the world. And there's so many broad ways that you can. There's so many specific technical and tactical ways that you can offer what you bring into the world and make this a better place, not only for yourself and your family, but the world at large. And then real quick, I got to give a shout out to the men of Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated, which I am a proud member. This November will be my 25th anniversary of membership. And so nothing big happened. I just happen to have on the brown and gold. And so I want to shout out those men and give them a big ow, ow, ole. That's how we do it. So, and now let's go into our very first sponsor. Very proud to be sponsored by someone who I believe in, who I support, who's been a huge support in my life. And that's Wiley Woodworks. It's a veteran-owned company, custom woodworking, highest quality possible. And you can reach him at, there it is, www.wileywoodworks.com, and on Instagram at @JWileyWoodworks. Look, custom, so many things that he's done, and I have some works that are in the works with him and with his company. And there's so many things that he's done, from the small little knickknacks that you can remember, big projects, furniture. And again, like I said, he'll even do, if you're in the local area, there can even be a conversation about things such as custom doors, garage shelving, and things like that, and custom furnitures and all that. So if you can think it up, I'm pretty sure my man can create it. So let's check out some of his work. Again, that's Wiley Woodworks, www.wileywoodworks.com, or on Instagram at @JWileyWoodworks. And if you go check them out, please tell them that the Help Myself podcast, hosted by none other than John M. Singletary Sr., sent you, and I promise you he'll take care of you. So thank you so much for your time on that. And so, thinking about everything that's going on in the world, let's really be honest. Is there ever a time when there's not something major going on in the world? Listen, since we've gotten really into the run up to the summer, we haven't forgotten about the massacre in Buffalo, New York. We haven't forgot about Uvalde and our precious children. We haven't forgot about all of the other, there was one in California. We just recently had one in Tulsa, Oklahoma, at a hospital. We are not, we're not forgetting. We're doing our best to move on and to survive. And then I talk about it more in depth on a audio podcast that dropped today, but I didn't really want to bring the heavy energy into this live broadcast. That'll be broadcasting on Facebook and YouTube. But I talk about the overturning of Roe versus Wade, the Dobbs decision, and I opened it on a light um, by talking about the verses Mario and Omarion. Talked about the BET Awards a little bit, and I will be very candid. I didn't see either one of them live or in their totality. I followed the highlights off of social media, namely Twitter, because let me tell you something. It was hilarious. It was hilarious, and it was much needed. Something entertaining to take our mind off of all that's going on. And I think we talked about this last week. I spent a week out in Illinois, my old stomping grounds, seeing some loved ones. That community will always be important and dear to my heart. The way they embraced myself and LJ when his mother passed. And, you know, I look back now. In the time, I didn't realize that I was just doing the best that I could, but I realized how lost it felt. And sometimes just things just felt so lucid. Like I couldn't really believe that this was life and this was really happening, and navigating that. And I always say it, I'm thankful that I had responsibilities that kept me anchored in reality. And I didn't have the opportunity to just go into a depressive state and mourn and do all of that. That I had a young man that not only had went through a traumatic loss, but his spirits were so high and he was depending on me to step up. And I'm so grateful and thankful for that. But that community will always be near and dear to our hearts because of the way that they embraced us and put their arms around us and accepted. You know, like I would go places and I'd be nervous because I'm like, oh, well, Jay's going to do this, and that. And they'd be like, no, he's comfortable here. Let him. I'm glad that he feels comfortable here. And I really have experienced the beauty of humanity through our unique journey that we're grateful for. So I believe in the beauty of humanity. There's actually a term, and I didn't get a chance to write it down because it's just coming to my mind, but there is a term that psychologists use to describe the fact that the propagation of negative news is so powerful and impactful that it makes us believe that life is actually worse than it actually is. And that more times than not, it's a 90-10 split in humanity, but the 10%, the squeaky wheel, gets the attention. And so we focus on all that bad when the reality is that most people you meet are actually amazing human beings that are doing the best that they can. And they're battling life in the most constructive way that they know how. And if something happens, it's most times not intentional. They're just misunderstandings. And if people truly want life to be better for themselves and for everybody else, are there selfish people, narcissistic people? The bigger problem is not that anybody is just absolutely evil. Really, ignorance is the more pressing problem, is that there's so many people that believe things and don't know. So, to think about that and to give grace to ourselves and grace to others and to find joy in your life. And that's really what I wanted to get on here really quickly and talk about. Listen, I know that this format, having guests, and there was a lot of things that I want to do with this format, and I am going to do that. I've got some amazing guests slated to come out. We just got to get schedules together and things like that. But there's some conversations that I want to have, and then we are going to obviously elevate the game, and we're going to be doing some in-person multi-camera interviews and have these conversations that go out more than just what is your resiliency story and how did you get into this, but talking about real keys to success. What are the keys to being experts in certain fields? What are the ways, and just kind of talking about the philosophy of being successful, of being grateful, of building wealth, of being healthier mentally, physically, and emotionally. Just all of these great conversations that continue to make everyone associated with this community more dangerous, because the healthier and more knowledgeable you are, the more you are able to set a path of destiny that includes wealth, that includes prosperity, that includes true happiness with how you are living your life. And so that's what I'm here to talk about real quickly. It's just that we just need to take good care of ourselves. So I want to encourage you to take good care of yourself. Um, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. So here's what I'll say. It is important to celebrate your milestones. I not putting anybody's business out, but I had the privilege of celebrating with a family that is dealing with a major loss of a member of their family, but yet they still chose to celebrate another family member in, a milestone that had been reached. And it warms my heart to see that they chose celebration. And because things happen, but life has this funny thing of not stopping for us when things get hard. It just keeps on moving. Like, I've remembered times going through the loss of loved ones, going through what seems just crazy, but yet and still, people are still celebrating new homes, celebrating marriages and wedding anniversaries, celebrating graduations from college, celebrating starting new businesses, celebrating milestones on social media journeys, and all the things that you can celebrate. Celebrating health, milestones and moments, and competitions and sports and scholarships and birthdays and all of these things, while sometimes I felt like life was falling apart for me. And the question that you have to ask yourself is, do you expect them to stop living life? No. I encourage them, because watch what happened. I'm going through, but just a moment of embracing their celebration and seeing the things that were happening for them lifted me out of a dark place. Look, if somebody falls into a well, it is important that we support, but is it better to support by going down in the well without a way to get out? Now both of y'all are stuck, or for you to figure out how to get a rope or a ladder or something so that you can help them get out of the well. And we've got to stop thinking. I call that trauma bonding. When you're getting close to somebody because y'all both have the same trauma, the same struggle, and you just commiserate, and then even get into a competition about who has it worse. That's a trauma bond. Listen, it is okay to combine yourself and your journey with someone that has gone through something, but somebody needs to be coming up with solutions. Like that is something that I have demanded of all of my teams. I will never have a problem with you calling out problems with the program, with the processes, with things that we're doing, with people, whatever. But if you are going to call out a problem, it might not be the right solution, but I wanted to make sure that I put people in a solution mindset so that when you see a problem, attempt to identify the solution to said problem. You might have the exact solution, and then we can come together as a group and implement said solution. You might not have the right solution, but it'll point us in the right direction to find what that solution is. And even if you're just way off base with it, if you're sincere, you bring the energy of trying to find solutions instead of commiserating on the problems. Because if we just get absorbed in the problem, then our life begins to go in that direction of the problems that we're facing. And it is foolish to believe that we will spend however much time we will in this life and not have problems. The goal is not to get to a place where happiness is the only option and you never have problems. The goal is to get to a place where you've built enough happiness that even when problems come, you have the proper perspective on problems and you can still focus on all that is good. I was having a conversation with a friend and I said, I have a situation going on that is weighing me down. And I had a day where I struggled with it, but I decided on the next day that I was going to get out and do something, even though the issue that I was dealing with had not been resolved. I said, it is not 100% of my day, so I am not going to let the issue keep me from going out and enjoying all of the things I'm blessed with, to spend time with my son. Like, he just has moments sometimes where he just will smile and look at me and just make everything okay. And I have to be plugged in and appreciate that, to appreciate the people in my life that wish me well, that truly care about me, that want to be lights and beacons of light in my life, for all of the things that I have to be thankful for, my health and my ability to do all of these things. Sometimes I get stuck because I be trying to do the most, but sometimes I need to just be thankful that I can do everything that I need to do. I might not be able to do the most all the time, but sometimes I'm doing just enough. And most days, just enough is good. Like, seriously, like, you're not trying to peak all the time. You really want to be at a median, because you're going to have low days and you're going to have high days, but to find your space in that comfortable middle where you got gratitude and you got perspective and you can stay grounded. Because sometimes we can be too high-minded to be good right here, and sometimes we're too far in the doldrums to be appreciative of where we really are. So you've got to stay grounded, but you've got to understand all of the great things that are going on in life. You can't have all of the amazing things that you desire from life if you don't appreciate all of the amazing things that you have in life right now. And I'm telling you, taking good care of yourself, celebration, celebrate your moments, celebrate your milestones. And that is very hypocritical of somebody like me to say, who's somebody that never celebrates their birthday. I told all my boys I was going to do it big for my birthday last year, and I ended up chilling in the house. Like, the only thing I did for myself was I didn't go to work that day. And I let my coworkers know that I was taking the day off because it was my birthday. But listen, I'm going to do better. I'm telling you right now, this is going to be recorded for perpetuity, and I am promising that I will do better when it comes to celebrating myself. At my retirement ceremony, they did it big. Like, I was just so thankful and grateful. People traveled from all over. Man, one of my guys, man, he traveled from overseas to be at my retirement, and I appreciate that. And I realized that I do need to celebrate me more. I need to be involved in the celebration of all the people around me. And I am telling you that you need to celebrate yourself. Take some time to be grateful and thankful for how far you've come, all the things that you've done, all you've accomplished, all that you have overcome, because you're special and dynamic. And there's so many things that you can do, but celebrate the things that you have done. You got to sit down and say, hey, I'm a bad mama jamma. And I did that thing. So celebrate yourself. Take good care of yourself. Celebrate your children. Let them understand that there are things that they are doing that are valuable and worthy, and to celebrate. But not only celebrate, but you got to take time for yourself. Unplug from the matrix. It's very important. Listen, if we stay plugged in to all that's going on, whether good or bad, it can have an intoxicating effect. Sometimes you need to just slow down, take a day. I love the way Boss Man Brewster put it. You know, he was talking to the man. He was saying, you need to just take a day to yourself. Like, he took a day and he just went to the beach. He's like, no work, no kids, not your spouse. Just take a day to yourself, and kind of sit with your thoughts and sit with everything that you got going on. And again, that's something that I am not good at. Like, I don't, I remember LJ stayed with his grandmother for a little over a week, man. And I was walking around here like I was in, like I was in a love story and I had lost my love. I'm walking around here like, LJ, where are you? Man, I would wake up in the middle of the night, like, is he in there? I was tripping. But as time went on, and then Then I got the nerve. I got all this free time. And what did I do? I got to work earlier and stayed later every day because, I didn't have to run to get LJ. And I'm like, man, shame on me. I could have took a day off and just sat on the couch and binged Netflix and ate ice cream and cookies or, or I could have done something more productive. I could have had a marathon gym session or something. But we've got to take that time to ourselves, unplug from the matrix. We're always go, go, go. But imagine if you hopped in your car and you know how astronomical gas prices are. And all you ever did with the car was go, go, go. You ain't stopped for gas. You ain't stopped to get oil changed. You didn't get your tires rotated. None of that stuff. You just go, go, go. With the gas, to be honest, your car gonna stop in about 2-3 days with the way gas is. But that's just the way it is. If you don't take some time to care for that car and to stop and pull it out of the rat race, let it be still for a little bit, and it's not gonna be running. Too often we treat ourselves as if it's just an unlimited quantity of energy and of go. And here's the thing, if you have a plan and your desire is to do great things, you are going to have to slow down from time to time, because the cheat code to doing great things isn't to burn both sides of the candle until you're burned out. There will be times when, to push towards a deadline, it will be required for you to push harder than you normally would. But let me tell you, you ain't gonna get there if you don't take care of you. If you don't take time to, do some things that you like to do, if you don't take some time to be who you've always wanted to be, if you don't take that time, then you're not going to get there. So you got to celebrate yourself. You got to take some time for yourself. And really, one of the biggest ones, you got to set specific intentions. And this works in so many other disciplines and in so many other ways, but write it down, make it official, set it up. Like when you're building a building, obviously it starts as an idea in the mind of the architect, but then you have to draw a blueprint and then you follow that blueprint. Now, obviously time, size, materials, and all these things, there's edits to the blueprint. But the blueprint is that guidance that tells us where we're going and what we want it to look like. So write it down. Write down how you're going to take good care of yourself. Write down where you're trying to go. Write down what the plan is. Write it down. Be specific. I want to go work out and be active this many times a week. I want to weigh this much. I want my body fat percentage to be this much. I want to save this much. I want to invest this much. I want to have this certification, that certification by this specific time. Write it down, architect your life, write the blueprint, and then put in the work. Some days you'll be able to get rooms done. You'll be able to get a whole wing done of the life that you're trying to build. Some days all you'll be able to do is maybe get the baseboards done or just a little framework on the bottom. But every day, if you've got a blueprint and you're working on it, keep filling that in. And there's some folks out there that I'm pushing that need to do things. They need to write books and they need to start podcasts and they need to go back to school and get educated. All these things they need to do. And so those are some initiatives that I'm working on, some ebooks on writing a book, some things about just getting out there and doing that thing, because technology and all of these opportunities have made it where it has collapsed how difficult it is to get to these places. And what's important is, and I tell people this all the time, sometimes you just have to break down those mental barriers where you're telling yourself you can't be something and go out and do it, and then watch and see how freeing it is for the rest of the things in your life. Look, I was not a published author and I thought that was such a difficult thing. And then I got it done. And I realized there's so many things that I leave on the table because I create barriers in my mind of what I can't do. But it's amazing what you can do when you do it. And something I shared with a friend this weekend, and I'll share it with you. Uh, There's a very good book called the Bible, and a verse that says, "Ask, and it shall be given; seek, and you shall find; knock, and the door shall be answered unto you." And if you take the A off of ask, take the S off of seek, and take the K off of knock, what do you have? You still have ask. So many times we have not because we ask not. But what do you really want from life? Not what do you think you can get from life. What do you really want from life? Recognize that, go for it, and then realize that if you're going to get there, you got to take good care of yourself. Take good care of yourself. And so now, as I close, I'm going to ask you to take good care of me, man. Hit that like button, share so that your friends can check out the Help Myself podcast. Go and subscribe to Spotify and Apple. Leave a review, because if you leave a review and you go in and you hit the stars for me, that'll push it out into the stratosphere and let other people know that this might be content that they might be interested in listening to. And so that would help with exposure, and I would certainly appreciate you very much. If you go to my website, which is the helpmyselfpodcast.com. Again, that is the helpmyselfpodcast.com. Go to the website, sign up for the mailing list. If you'd be so inclined, purchase a copy of my book, The Journey from Fear to Abundant Faith. It's an excellent read, and I guarantee you that it will definitely be a value add to your life. So you can go down and purchase a copy for yourself or for a loved one. Thank you to everyone else that has already supported me in all of these endeavors. Go to the YouTube page, which is the Help Myself Podcast Network. Subscribe, click the like button, hit the notification bell, so whenever the Help Myself podcast goes live, that you will be notified and you can check out what's going on with me and my many partners that we shall be bringing forth to give you the information to make you truly dangerous. Because here at the Help Myself podcast, we are the world's most dangerous podcast. So we're putting the power where it belongs, and that's in your hands. So I'm going to close like I always close. Listen, I can't help myself. Got to inspire, I've got to encourage, I've got to empower, but I can help myself by being the absolute best version of myself. And you can too. So why not? We just go on and do that thing together.
I can't help myself.